So here we are again with our survival mode of Minecraft. After a very long journey of trying to find our way home, I eventually made it. And with that completed, I decided that I was going to get an elytra. But because the stronghold was underwater, I decided I would make my roof portal like I did last time. It went a little bit better in the sense that I didn't get stuck halfway through. I still am a little foggy as to what level I need to be launching my Ender Pearl in order to get it to work, but it doesn't really matter because we didn't get stuck this time. I did, however, though, when I first was going to do this, you don't see it here because I cut it out, I accidentally didn't bring my flint and steel with me when I got onto the roof, and so for a second there I thought I was going to be stuck forever and I was just going to have to cut our losses because I wouldn't know how to get off of the roof after getting onto it. But thankfully I had the iron pieces needed in order to light it, so we were able to save ourselves from that situation, thankfully. So after I popped down here, successfully survived making it onto the roof and back down without too much trouble. Village looking exactly the same, nothing new added. I did build up the tower and pop onto the roof to make the upper part because I still wanted the access to the lower part because I don't know how to blast through the bedrock yet. I know that there's ways to do it, but I just haven't done it yet. So I still wanted to be able to access the Nether Fortress to potentially make like a wither farm or something. But when I made it the first time, I unfortunately didn't tower up high enough, so I had to take down the whole thing and then re-access the Nether roof. So eventually we finally got it, and we had a fully functioning portal that we could go in and out of. And with that, we headed off to the area of the stronghold, which I thought I had calculated the coordinates correctly, but unfortunately I did not. And so this guy popped up and we were in the middle of nowhere, so that was no good. But yeah, while I was doing that, I did stumble upon this skeleton horse thing, and so I went over to go put a name tag on it, but a bunch of skeletons attacked me. But I was able to thankfully fight them off without too much trouble. I mean, a little bit of trouble, but not too much trouble. My biggest thing was the fact that I kind of wanted a horse out of this, which would be kind of nice. Even if it is a skeleton, then the zombie popped up out of nowhere. I mean, I was just having a hard time. But when it was all said and done, I was able to get a skeleton horse, but I didn't have a saddle on at the time. Anyways, we eventually made it to the stronghold and popped in so that we could make our way over to where the elytras are, so that we could potentially fly around after placing our pumpkin on our head because we didn't want to run into any potential death. I know that I technically am not playing hardcore mode, obviously, because I have died plenty of times in this in order to do that, but I still do certain things in order to prevent that. I was disappointed that this end gateway was way out over the opening, so I was a little nervous on heading in because you never know, I could potentially die and lose everything. But I also like how my arms pop out of my armor when I lay down flat. But anyways, so after getting a decent set of stairs, which I say I'm gonna make it look nicer, I probably won't make it nicer. It will probably stay like that forever. But maybe I'll make it nicer at some point. And I did make a path over to that so I could do it. And after traveling a very long time, not as far as the last one, I'll say, I did find a end city, I think is what they're called, with the ship. I used the map in order to get a general idea of where it was, but then eventually I found it and I had to tower up. I didn't have scaffolding this time. Not having gone to a forest to make scaffolding, big game changer. I don't know if everybody likes scaffolding, I apparently really like using scaffolding. It's a big thing apparently with how I like to build and tower places. So that was a bit of a bummer, but we just towered our way up. Thankfully, I did have enough in order to get up, because there was a brief moment where I was like, oh great, I'm gonna undershoot this, have to tower or get all the way back down and then build ourselves back up, but we didn't have to do that. So I went over and I fought the shulker. I don't exactly know how to not get hit by these little flying things from the shulkers, but I had my looting sword because my main reason for coming out here, apart from getting elytra, was to get some shulker shells, so that I could make shulker boxes so I could carry more stuff around. I did take these 2 chests so that I could later on make some shulker boxes because I had too much stuff in my inventory, but we were able to get our elytra, and I did grab the dragon head that was on here. I don't know if you can get them anywhere else or if you can recreate them. I'm pretty sure you can only get them on top of the ships, so I grabbed it while I was here. And then since it was so close to an end city, I decided that I would go and get some more shulker shells, because you need 2 and a chest in order to make a shulker box, which is the main goal for, not the main goal, one of the goals for coming out here. Anyways, while I'm doing this, be sure you leave a like if you like the video and subscribe. I really appreciate all the people that have given my channel a shot. And yeah, this one shulker kind of popped out on the side over there, and I don't know where he came from because he wasn't there when I first walked up. So that was a little strange. I was starting to panic here because my shoes don't have feather falling, and I kept on getting higher and higher. And then I saw this like tree, I don't know what they're called. Anyways, the tree, and I decided that I was going to fly up really high and then hope that I would land on this tree and it wouldn't kill me, because I don't know what I would do, because 1, I would lose my elytra, and then 2, I wouldn't be able to do it. But at this point, I still don't know how to really fly with an elytra. Some people left some very helpful comments on not looking up and down when trying to use the elytra, but that was in my hardcore world and I had already died, so I hadn't really gotten a chance to do it. I have gotten better at using my elytra, just not in this moment when I was fighting them. So I took my chest plate off because I was like, oh, I should have my elytra on, even though I proceed to not really use my elytra when the shulkers continue to fight me. I wish there was I know there are ways to make farms for shulkers, but the only ones that I've ever seen, they've always had to be teleported all the way to the overworld and out of the end city, which I just think seems really complicated. So I might have to look and see, because not having to deal with chests would be really nice, just because of how much traveling with stuff I like to do. I also haven't made a ender chest yet, so I'll probably have to do that at some point too. I think I was able to hit a couple of these back, but it still wasn't necessarily the most ideal fight. I was afraid that if I got up too high, then some of the shulkers from above were gonna start hitting me, which wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, I basically just kept landing on this tree and being like, okay, we can sort of survive a drop from there. My inventory is really full because I took all the stuff from the ship. I probably should have left some of the stuff, but I really kind of just wanted to grab it all. I wish you could put looting on your bow. because that would be really nice. Yeah, then they started shooting me through the holes that I made earlier to aim for them. It's a little, quite the disappointment. After doing that, I headed off to this other fortress that I walked past because I knew that there were some shulkers down below, and so I decided that I was going to grab these last two ones before I headed back home. Normally I can stay underneath the lip of the Nether City, or not at the Nether City, in City, but this time I was not so lucky. And so I decided I was just gonna go through it. I know that if I headed up there is the big like opening where I think a lot of shulkers are, and that just seemed like a really big headache, so I decided that I was just gonna come from the inside and just attack them from here and hope for the best. I don't like how they knock you back. I know that that's an element where it's like, well, that's just how it works, but it kind of annoys me. Anyways, so I made my way back, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.